You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Kash Patel abruptly called to White House as deputies disturbed by behavior. Report, based on an article by Matthew Chapman. Kash Patel's jet fetish is not a gaffe, it is governance. The report. MS Now reports that FBI Director Kash Patel was summoned to the White House after backlash over his conduct, including alleged use of government jets for personal travel and a secretive BMW purchase. The White House denies the core of the reporting, while Trump aide Stephen Chun responded by insulting the outlet and defending Patel's insult-driven social media posture. Who actually holds power? Patel is not the center of power here. He is the symptom. The power sits with the Trump White House, which can indulge him, recoil from him, or sacrifice him when his behavior becomes too embarrassing to defend. That is the real hierarchy, a patronage state where loyalty matters more than competence, and humiliation is tolerated until it becomes a liability. The FBI director using public resources like a private allowance is not some quirky side story. It is what happens when institutional guardrails are subordinated to personal status. The office that is supposed to project law enforcement seriousness is instead orbiting vanity, paranoia, and grievance. The problem is not optics. The White House reportedly cared that Patel's conduct created bad optics. That phrasing is the tell. The concern is not the abuse itself, it is the visibility of the abuse. That is a familiar pattern in authoritarian adjacent politics. The offense is not corruption, but getting caught making corruption look crude. Patel's alleged habits, from government jets to his secret BMW, point to a culture where public office is treated as private property. The administration's instinct is not accountability, it is containment. Chun's spin is the point. Stephen Chun's response does not rebut the substance. It performs tribal loyalty. He denies frustration while confirming the administration's central reflex, attack the messenger, vulgarize the argument, and flood the zone with contempt. That is not accidental. It is message discipline for a government that survives by converting scandal into performance art. If the facts are bad, make the fight about tone. If the conduct is embarrassing, make the insult louder. If the story lands, deny the emotional reaction and pretend that repetition is exoneration. Patel as a loyalist liability. Patel's reported panic at being pulled into the White House tells its own story. He is not acting like an independent official serving a public institution. He is acting like a fragile political dependent who knows his value is contingent and his protection temporary. That is why this matters beyond one man's conduct. Loyalists of this kind are chosen precisely because they confuse devotion with authority, but they usually become dangerous in two ways at once. They inflict damage on institutions, then force the people above them to manage the wreckage. The administration gets the kind of operative it asked for, then discovers that fealty does not equal discipline. The larger pattern is simple. This is how a corrupted state normalizes itself. Public resources become perks, oversight becomes theater, abuse becomes a branding problem, and the people with real power spend their time managing the embarrassment created by the people they promoted for being shameless enough to do exactly what they were hired to do. That is the political meaning of the story. Not that Patel is unusually bad, but that his behavior fits the system around him. The scandal is not an exception, it is the operating model. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Raw Story for today's article with the automated voice of Ryan. Thanks for listening.